So, West Virginia is the state that gave President Trump his second largest margin of victory over Hillary Clinton. He won by 42 points, and while last night's event had its fair share of protesters, this stop was all about rallying the base. Lewis filed this report from the rally.
Limited protesters.
As Americans, we're not going to stand for his bigotry, for his hatred.
West Virginia is known as wild, wonderful West Virginia. When Trump gets done with it, it's going to be a wasteland.
Rights are being violated. It's time for everybody to stand up and say enough is enough.
I am thrilled to be back in the very, very beautiful state of West Virginia.
I want to know if these Trump supporters are happy with the job that the president's doing. What do you guys think?
I think he's working hard to do the American people a good job.
I think he's doing an amazing job.
Everybody knew what they were getting when they voted for him, so.
I'm very pleased with what he's done. As soon as he, got into office, he hit the ground running.
Right now, West Virginia, 13,000 miners have been put back to work in the first 6 months he's been in office. 13,000 miners that have been fired because of the environmental policies of Barack Obama. Good enough for me.
If nothing else, we've gained more faith in him because he's given us a hope that we haven't had for years in this area.
All the things he's doing, pulling out of the Paris Accord, everything. Yeah, he's doing a good job.
Has Donald Trump lived up to all of your expectations?
Not yet, but he might.
Trump, he's a human being like me. He understands where I'm coming from. No Russian came to my door beating on it and said you need to vote for him.
I think the Senate and the Congress should be doing better.
And you agree?
Yes, the Senate and Congress could do a lot more.
What's your view on fake news? Do you believe it happens as much as the president says it does?
I believe fake news happens no matter what occurs.
I think there's a lot of fake news out there. Absolutely. I follow the news rather closely, and yes, I do.
There's obviously fake news, correct?
I don't know. You tell me.
Russian collusion.
You vote for Donald Trump again?
Absolutely.
We will see what happens tomorrow. How's that?
Yes, I would.
No doubt.
No doubt.
I vote for Donald Trump again in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Without hesitation.
Absolutely. Yes, 100%.
100% yes.
Oh, definitely, yes. Right there.
So with us now, we've got the host of MSNBC's Politics Nation and the president of the National Action Network, Reverend Al Sharpton. Reverend Al, for a lot of people in Manhattan, sort of in the bubble, that reminded me of a Bloomberg focus group that shocked a lot of people back in August of 2015, where you had working class people saying, he understands me, he gets me, nobody else out there gets me. They're still saying that 2 years later. Why?
I think that they don't get that he is someone that gets them and reflects them. I remember right on this show, we talked about how he was able to channel being an outsider because he was outside the Manhattan real estate aristocracy. And he called me after the show. That's who he is. And I think that with all of the strategists the Democrats are using, they do not get the point of how isolated and marginalized a lot of Americans feel that he's playing to. Now, he's not servicing them, he's not dealing with their problems, but they see him in them and vice versa. So every time they attack him, he says, they're attacking us. Every time they come after him, you see they really don't want me. They're reinforcing his outsider status.
And Gene, I always said, when the thing that was so interesting about politics for me is, I could walk into a room and you knew immediately, like the room read you, you read the room, and I go, I'm going to be just fine. I know preachers get that too. I've walked into other rooms and I've gone, okay, I'm just going to say hi and bye. But Trump, he walks into a room and they sense that resentment that he's felt in Manhattan. And Al will tell you, 30, 35 years, people have mocked him, they've ridiculed him, doesn't matter how tall the buildings are, doesn't matter how successful the TV shows, and he has resented it. And the more we attack him, I hate to sound like Obi-Wan Kenobi, the more powerful we make him.
He cultivates that sense of grievance, that sense of outsiderness is clearly something that has really worked for him and continues to work for him. You know, my question is, why should anyone be surprised? We go out and we do these stories and say, well, the base still supports Donald Trump. Well, it's been 6 months, you know, and that it would really shock me if his support base had entirely evaporated away in the course of 6 months. There would be a lot of people out there, it seems to me, who would say, you know, let's give him time, let's give him a chance. They voted for him for various reasons, that sense of grievance, and also to do specific things.
So the next thing we're doing, Rev, is we sent Lewis out. We wanted to send him to the reddest part of America. Now we're sending Pennsylvania next, where there's going to be sort of more of a split, and we're going to see more. But I think it is important for us to remind ourselves, and for Democrats that want to take it back.
There you go.
There's still a lot of people in Middle America that still would vote for Trump in a New York second and not think twice about it.
They see him as an outsider like them who beat the other guys. See, don't
beat the system.
The reason they're hanging on, yeah, they see some things there that they don't like, but he beat these guys. I can beat them. And I think the Democrats have not been able to come up with a cultural figure or political figure to rally that. They're trying to appeal to people that do not identify with them. Right. And not going to the base that does, that needs them to speak for them. You're running away from who loves you to somebody who looks at you like, you look down on me. I don't care what you say.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they like his attitude. And I think there has been a lot of what we call chaos and disorganization, which up close you can see why when you look at what you've reported on, the type of staffing they've done, what you wrote about in the Post today, the vacancies left for formal officials. But I think at a greater distance, it's a blurrier picture, and it looks like Washington's not working, which is not a new story. Washington's freaking out over things, not a new story. And here's a guy at the top who has an attitude they like. And I think the problem is 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, if nothing he promised actually gets done, is the attitude enough to carry?
And they blame the Republicans in the House.
And they're not.
Yeah, they blame the Republicans in the House and Senate. They should do a better job. What the president was doing and saying last night, I think, was potentially dangerous, though, which is going further and saying this whole Russia investigation, they're trying to steal from you what you voted for. They're trying to steal it from you.
That is
a
strong message.
That's another step.
That is a strong message.
The thing that he did with the police last week. I mean, we've got 1,000 ministers marching August 28th on it. He's sending out a lot of danger here. But you cannot try to turn his base around. You've got to energize and organize your base
if you're running the Democratic Party. What do you tell them to do?
I go to the base. They ignored a lot of the African-American churches. They ignored a lot of the black radio. They ignored Latino. They were too busy flirting with people who wouldn't give them a date rather than the ones that went to the prom with them for the last 40 years. And they stayed home in key states because you never came and talked to them at all. The Democrats need to quit fooling themselves.
You got to ask for the votes. Now, I'm going to ask
Final thoughts on Felony Friday?
Ari, Felony Friday. What tunes are you going to be spinning tonight on the beat?
You know, that's a big question. Other than your new album, we like Kendrick Lamar a little bit.
Yeah, okay, very good.
What do you think of Kendrick Lamar?
Great, great. Just like Haim, they liked him too. But yeah, who do you have on the show tonight? You know yet?
I do. We've got, I think what I'm most excited about is we actually have my old boss, Floyd Abrams, talking about his 11 a.m. press conference on leaks with Jeff Sessions.
All right, Reverend Sharpton, thank you so much. We'll be watching Politics Nation Sunday at 8 a.m. And Ari,
thank you.
It starts at 6 o'clock. Weekdays on MSNBC.
Thank you, sir.
That does it for us for now.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.